Glendora City Council, and at 6 p.m. For the audience tonight, my name is David Friedendahl. I am the mayor of Glendora and serve as a presiding officer from speaking unless recognized. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. For our roll call, I will announce that members Davis, Elias, Thompson, and Friedendahl are present. Mr. Alawas has an excused absence. At this time, we will enter into closed session, and I would like to ask our city attorney to read the closed session title into record, and then we'll open public comment.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Closed session is going to be held pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 with respect to labor negotiations. The negotiators involved are the city manager, city attorney, assistant city manager, deputy city manager, and human resources assistant with respect to the Glendora Police Managers Association and the Glendora Police Officers Association.
Thank you, Mr. Aylshire. And at this time, I'd like to open to public comment, speaking on closed session items only. And I see no persons in the room. Madam Clerk, do we have any correspondence?
We do not, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I will close public comment and recess to closed session. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone, to our city council meeting, and thank you for your patience. We've been in closed session for a few moments, so I'd like to call us back from closed session at 7:03 p.m., please. And if I may, I'd like to ask our city attorney to report us out of closed session.
Yes, Mayor, council met in closed session for a labor negotiations item, which is authorized pursuant to Government Code 54957.6. The city met with city manager, city attorney, assistant city manager, and the deputy city manager with respect to the Glendora Police Managers Association and Glendora Police Officers Association. Discussion was had, but there was no reportable action taken at the meeting.
Great, thank you, sir. And I would like to welcome you all once again to our city council meeting. I am David Friedendahl. I am the mayor of Glendora and the presiding officer for this meeting. At this time, I would like to have our invocation and pledge of allegiance. And this evening, our invocation will be led by Pastor Mike Platter from the Glendora Community Church, followed by a pledge of allegiance led by our student representative from Charter Oak High School, Mitchell Gibbons. So if you'd all rise and join us, Pastor Platter.
I invite you to join us in prayer. Our Father in heaven, it is appropriate for us to begin our prayer with thanks and praise. We live in a beautiful setting next to the mountains. We are daily blessed with natural beauty given to us by your hand, and for that we are grateful. We live in a city which is blessed with faithful and diligent leaders. Thank you for these people who are in front of me right now and us as the audience. Bless them, Lord, as they work for this city's behalf. Bless their families, and thank you for their devotion to this town and to the families that they share their time with. We also know that we are blessed with citizens who profess the love and values for our country, as well as faith in a gracious God, and for that we are grateful. Tonight, in this meeting, may your wisdom be present. May you allow the poise to speak respectively and truthfully to each other, and may good things come out of this gathering. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor, don't run yet. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Mitchell. And this is sort of bittersweet, certainly for me, and I know for the entire community, but Pastor Platter is stepping off after 20 years of leading his congregation at the Glendora Community Church here in Glendora in a very faithful and unselfish servitude. I will miss you, and I know the congregation will greatly. We thank you for your service, and your next chapter and journey is off to, he's going to fly a tornado into Oklahoma possibly, but moving in there or somewhere in the middle of the country, and we wish you well and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be here. The next immediate chapter is going home to pack tonight.
Good night, sir.
Mr. Platter, if I may, just
please.
from the clergy side of things, that you have contributed greatly through the Ministerial Association to many community events, the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, the National Day of Prayer, and the many other projects that we are part of, giving of your time and talents. And so thank you on behalf of a grateful community for the many ways that you have gone above and beyond to give of your time and talents. We will miss you, and Godspeed to you.
I miss you guys greatly too. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Just as a reminder or observation for anybody just joining us, the council is all present with the exception of Mr. Alaros, who has an excused absence this evening, so we will miss his contributions. Next, I'd like to come forward with our high school student reports. An exciting time of the month, and we always look forward to share and to learn of what's going on. And I don't know if it's enough to say I'd like to be back in high school again, but maybe not, but certainly to learn what the good folks are. So we'll start off with Mr. Gibbons from Charter Oak.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share all the great things happening at Charter Oak. So to start off, our City of Hope blood drive was on February 20th, and many students and staff generously donated their blood to those in need. The first grading period of our second semester also ended on February 21st, and earlier this month, one of our student athletes signed his letter of intent to play college football at Black Hills State University in South Dakota, and this makes a total of 9 college sports signees at Charter Oak. In honor of Black History Month, Charter Oak's Black Student Union is having a Spirit Week this week in order for students to celebrate the holiday. And tomorrow we will have an assembly during the school day to honor our winter sports athletes. Here's my final winter sports update. This past weekend, our JV competitive cheer team took first place at nationals in the non-tumbling medium category. And as far as records go, boys basketball was 4-20, boys soccer was 2-16 with 1 tie, girls basketball was 2-12, girls soccer was 9-9 with 1 tie, girls water polo was 4-19, and in preparation for the spring sports season, softball, swim, and track and field have all begun practicing and perfecting their respective crafts. Our baseball team has also started their spring season and are currently 0-1. Upcoming events at Charter Oak include our dance program's dance show at the H.K. Baird Theater on March 6th through 8th. Our tickets are now on sale for the Charter Oak Theater Department's spring musical Newsies, which will be showing on April 24th and April 25th, as well as May 1st and 2nd. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mitch. Next up, we have Lily Lusk from Glendora High School. Lily, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Lily Lusk. I'm a junior at Glendora High School, and I'm currently serving as one of the 4 students on the executive board for our ASB program. I'm pleased to report that it's the middle of a busy season for our Tartans. We just hosted our first annual Powder Ball game night last Friday. This event was a huge success as the boys continued the tradition of playing volleyball in Powder Buff and being coached by the volleyball girls. This year is the first year we've introduced a junior girls against senior girls dodgeball game. We hope to host Powder Ball again next year. Kindness Week has now passed, and we are happy to report that it was a success. We kicked off the week with our annual Kindness Crew activity, where a group of our high school students went to their home elementary schools and greeted their students walking to class. Despite the rainy weather, our ASB students clipped students with clothespins that held compliments. Lastly, students were able to enjoy a flower truck in the pavilion and picked up a free flower. Action is approaching quickly, and we had a great turnout for t-shirt sales. In the next few weeks, Tartans will prepare for penny wars, dance practices, and mural paintings. Following action, our AP students will be preparing for their upcoming tests. Spring sports are getting ready for season and are taking on the field every day for practice. Our very own GHS senior, Samantha Sachs, is on her way to states for wrestling. She won first place in CIF and even had an opponent forfeit from wrestling against her. Our Tartan family is extremely proud of her. As winter sports wrapped up, both girls soccer and boys basketball made it past the first round of CIF. We hope to keep the same energy as spring season starts. Tartans are busy yet productive during the season. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lily. Next, I would like to invite Alexa Straight from St. Lucy's Priory High School. Alexa.
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Mayor Friedendahl and esteemed City Council. My name is Alexa Straight. Throughout the month of February, St. Lucy's has had many events, some of which were religious. We started the month with Kairos, our annual senior retreat. As mentioned in January, this experience is an irreplaceable 4 days in the mountains, where students learn more about themselves, each other, and the Lord. As a leader, it was amazing to watch my group grow individually and communally. Girls continue to live on what they learned, blessing our school and personal communities. While we were away, each grade got to experience their own retreat, making everyone's week spiritual. The following Monday, our school collectively celebrated a Mass for St. Scholastica, one of the patron saint of girls' education and our school. The first half of the month was also characterized by new student interviews. With high school placement tests, or HSBT, results being released, 8th grade girls and their families are asked to come to Lucy's for an admissions interview. This is a great way for future regents to see the campus, meet the staff, and practice their interview skills. On February 11th, we hosted our Coffee with the Community and a blood drive. St. Lucy's thanked those active in Glendora with breakfast treats and delicious drinks. Thank you to everyone who is able to attend. Another chance for everyone to visit our campus is for our annual bash, a gala for the community filled with entertainment, food, and fun. On February 14th, our school held a field day. Valentine's Day on an all-girls campus is a big deal, so ASB bought pizza for the student body. Together, we enjoyed lunch, games, and music. Girls played packed volleyball games, watched movies, and bought food to share with each other. We also delivered Valentine's grams or messages between a tri-school community to celebrate the holiday. Last week, the class of 25 experienced their final sports rally, a valued tradition at St. Lucy's. We celebrated our spring sports with class versus class competitions. Each of the games were new to St. Lucy's, such as mat surfing. One of our big events was the track style relay for the seniors versus teachers. This concluded with our ASB signing off for their final sports rally of the year, and we can't wait to see what the next ASB does. The spring sports that were celebrated are now in full swing. Track has already attended a meet this weekend, and many girls are succeeding in new or experienced events. Both swim and track compete against Glendora High School next week, so we wish them the best of luck. And congratulations to our girls' winter sports who wrapped up their seasons, especially our first ever girls wrestling team who made it to CIF. St. Lucy's has also been blessed with the opportunity to host a Day for Task, a youth leadership program. We had middle school students visit our campus and learn a little bit about Christian leadership and how they can continue it back at their school. Similarly, this Friday, St. Lucy's will be hosting a Glendora networking event for women in business. We can't wait to have such inspiring women on our campus. Throughout this month, our class officers have been hard at work hosting fundraisers for Penny Wars. Getting a head start, each class is allowed 2 days to fundraise for the competition next week. We have seen basket raffles, Pizookie sales, waffle bars, and chamoy sales so far. They are extremely excited for Penny Wars next week. This Thursday, we have our Regent Fashion Show. This is an opportunity for girls to show off what they've worked for in clothing design, modeling anywhere from 1 to 5 unique pieces. It has been upgraded from being part of the rally to being its own event due to its success in the previous year. With MCs, games, and paparazzi, girls are ecstatic to share their hard work as both models and designers. Thank you again for this opportunity to represent my school. It's an honor to be here each month, and I can't wait to present our March itinerary. Have a good night, stay safe, and God bless.
Thank you, Alexa. And now I'd like to welcome and introduce our Whitcomb High School representative, Amy Vargas. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, and good evening. My name is Amy Vargas, our campus news. We would like to welcome back our English teacher, Mr. Love, who was on active duty for 8 months on January 27th. We've had the VWF Post 12034 Band of Brothers to do a presentation of the colors, after which there was a small reception. Students and staff were happy to have him safely return to Whitcomb. The leadership class hosted of activities for the Great Kindness Challenge Week. Every day was a different thing to celebrate and encourage kindness. Whitcomb joined the San Gabriel Sports League this year. There are a total of 5 sports that have been played throughout the year, including flag football, softball, soccer, basketball, and volleyball. We have just completed our basketball season. So far, the Wildcats are having a very successful season. Whitcomb is preparing for an accreditation visit this year from the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. This will be a very important event for our school and will determine accreditation for the next 6 years. Our visit will be on April 14th through 16th. Whitcomb's yearly Ladies' Night Out fundraiser was held on February 7th. We had many community supporters attend this event. The leadership students helped with serving the guests and handing out winning baskets. We are very grateful for our PTSA and the community support for our school. Whitcomb was just named as a model continuation high school by the California Department of Education. We are just one of 74 alternative education schools from across the state to be selected for this honor, one of 18 in LA County and one of 5 in the San Gabriel region. We are very proud of this accomplishment and can't wait to continue having our status. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, and keep up the great work. And Mr. Thompson, you have a comment.
Well, I just want to point out that 2 of our students have on some very special swim attire. I don't know if either of you would like to make a comment about that. I was aware of what is going on because my grandson, we were out to eat on Sunday night, and he had his goggles on. He was a target, I should say, but when the young girl saw that he was wearing the appropriate attire, she stopped squirting him. So, best of luck. You don't have to say or admit to anything. I hope that the people that I see outside are not targeting you guys. No, there's really not anybody. See the look on their faces. I know a little bit about this game, but best of luck, and I hope that your pot is as big as I hear that the tartan pot is for all of those students. So I don't know, Mitchell, do you want to say anything, or you just want to stay quiet? Okay. Lay low.
I just figured the goggles were because it was so bright and sunny outside.
No, there's a very special.
Okay. This is in lieu of Sadie Hawkins Day.
I don't know what it's in lieu
Yeah,
of.
no.
It's just something that's happening among our schools.
Well, good.
So best of luck.
Keep the fun level high. That's important. So wonderful. Thank you all. We now come to the opportunity to reorder or add to the agenda. Does anyone on the dais wish to make any changes or additions? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we'll come to our public comment. I'd like to open public comment and invite members of the public to address the legislative body. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on both on and off agenda items. If you are in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter to which you wish to discuss. There is a small timer on the screen, so keep an eyeball out for that. We'd like to aim at 3 minutes, please. It looks like I have a small number of cards. I'll take them in the order of presentation, not any order of priority. First, I'd like to invite Mr. Jack Evania up to talk to us maybe about trails.
Good evening, City Clerk, Councilor, City Manager, City Council, and Mayor. I'm Jack Avanella. I'm here on behalf of the Trails Council to promote Trails Day and Earth Day. We've had some leadership changes. Dick Sweeney stepped down, and we have they elected me to be the chair, and we're trying to build the attendance back up. I'm going to be talking to high schools and local churches and all that because attendance has gotten pretty bad over the years. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Jack, and you have some large shoes to fill, so I know you'll do well.
I've had a good. Dick and I talk at least once a week. I'll be taking your call. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Next, Mr. John David Martinez. Mr. Martinez?
How's everyone doing? Can I let Tonya go first? We're both going to, does it matter? Or?
Well, I do have a Tanya Pace, so
All right.
no, I have,
Switch it up.
if it works your program better, please. Ms. Pace, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Honorable Mayor, members of the council, it's exciting to be here. Staff, thank you for the opportunity. We have a few bags we'd like to leave, if I can give them to you. So I'm here. My name is Tonya Pace, and I'm representing Glendora Pride in the Foothills. So this year, we will have our 4th annual Pride in the Foothills event. It's at Finkbeiner Park, and it's slated for May 31st. So in your bag, there's one for each of you and one for the city manager and city attorney as well. So, and we have many more. If anybody wants one, I'll make one, happily. So, it's good of you. So we have our event on May 31st from 4 to 7, and we would absolutely love each and every one of you to attend the event and participate with the other elected officials that are coming. So it would be fantastic. The event is from 4 to 7, and in the park, we'll have some food vendors. We have plenty of community groups lined up that are there every year. Some want to come back. we have food vendors. And then we also have some of the faith-based organizations. So it's going to be a really great time. As far as events, we have some super interesting speakers. We also have what we like to affectionately call our Queer Olympics. So I don't know, I might recruit some of those students because they were looking like they could
Pretty buff,
participate. Yeah, they're athletic. I'll take them on my team. So we do have Queer Olympics. We have a DJ coming. It's going to be a really great event. It's from 4 to 7. A little bit about why we do this. Raising awareness in the LGBTQ community here in Glendora. Super important. I've lived in town for almost 35 years. My wife and I bought a home here in town. We shop. We raised a child. He's now 21. He goes to the local college, getting ready to transfer. I'm definitely fixed in the community and have participated actively, and I've seen many of you around. So for me, it's super important to raise this awareness and really get the community involved and realize that we're just here part of the same community. We have some of our committee members in the back. Last year, we had over 300 folks in the park. This year, we're already getting high numbers to our fundraising events. It's just really nice to see people come out. For me, the awareness is the big thing, and I really think it's important. My wife and I were together 31 years and married for 8 of those years. She unfortunately passed away 13 years ago. My son and I are still in the community, and we're rooted here. So this topic is super near and dear to my heart. It's not the only topic near and dear to my heart. I know you've seen me active in the community, but this is big, and I really would ask each and every one of you to dig into your bag, get your invite out. Let me know you're coming. We'll pave a red carpet. I would love to see your participation there. And you guys are looking at the clock, so I'm going to guess
Good job.
I'm done.
Okay. Well, thank you, and thanks for the advance notice.
If I can just say, all of our contact is on the back of your invite.
Okay?
And on the front is obviously the key info of when to come. And if you bring me this invitation, I will swap you out a T-shirt that you're going to absolutely love. So I'll leave you with that.
You can't refuse that.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez?
All right. Okay. Hi. I hope everyone's doing amazing. So I'm proud to say I'm also a resident of Glendora for more than 30 years. I went to Stanton, I went to Sandburg, I went to Glendora High. I'm proud to say I attend First Church of Glendora, Disciples of Christ. Such an amazing church. Pride, someone part of the LGBTQ community, and I've lived here again since I was 8 years old, for you all to let me speak and be recognized is amazing. Each and every one of you, as I look in your eyes, it's amazing. So I see each and every one of you. And we hope that you guys come out. I love Glendora. My husband, unfortunately, passed away recently, unexpectedly as well. And we loved Glendora. And we value this community. And we love it. So I promise that Pride in the Foothills is this amazing experience. It's a family experience. So I know there's been some rhetoric that unfortunately has gone around, but it's not true. I promise. I put my name on it. So hopefully if you guys take 30 minutes out of your day to come just check it out and, just give us a chance. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. I've spent all the cards I was offered. Is anyone else in the room wishing to speak? Madam Clerk, have we received any correspondence?
We have not, Mayor.
Okay, well, thank you all, and we will close public comment. Bring back to the members for statements and comments. And if I may, I'd like to offer Karen to begin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one announcement. March 9th is the annual crop walk. People can go to the United Methodist Church at 201 East Bennett and register at 1:30, start walking at 2 p.m. And if you don't want to walk, you can donate. It goes to Shepherd's Pantry, St. Vincent de Paul, and to the Spartan Garden. So everyone can unite around feeding our neighbors. The other thing, Mr. Mayor, I would like to ask that tonight we adjourn our meeting in memory of Gordon Norman. Gordon died this last week. Most folks in town knew him as Mr. Music, former band director at GHS. He and his wife ran a travel agency, and he used that opportunity to lead bands around the world and bring them here, brought bands from Germany, from Japan, and it was part of that musical exchange that he did that helped start the relationship with MoCA Japan. And so we celebrate the ways that he brought music to our lives, but also that he brought harmony beyond music and the way that he reached out to other cultures and other people. Many things he was involved in, Glendora Rotary Club, and was very involved in that. The list of his involvement and accolades could go on, but we know that Glendora has lost one of our treasured members, and that he gave of himself to make our lives better in all of his service to the community. And I'd like to share just a snippet of his impact. We received today a note from Mayor Ishizaka of MoCA Japan, who also extends their sympathy. Dear Mayor Friedendahl and the Glendora City Council, we reach out today to send our deepest condolences regarding the death of Mr. Gordon Norman. He vastly contributed to the sister city relationship between Glendora and MoCA. We greatly appreciated his friendship and musical talents that he shared with many of us in MoCA. He positively impacted the lives of numerous people in our city, and he will be sorely missed. We wish the Norman family and Mr. Norman's loved ones comfort during this very difficult time with sincere sympathy. So, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, his loss will be greatly felt for sure. Mendel.
Thank you, Karen, for saying those really nice words. Gordy was a personal friend, and I was able to travel to MoCA with him, and he is well-loved, respected there. And Karen, you said it all. He's going to be missed. So thank you for those words. Just a couple of events that are coming up. The 7th of March is Lassie League kickoff. So if you want to see some really fun baseball being played, show up on the 7th of March at 5:45, Pompey Park. And that'll be the opening day for them, and it's going to be fun. The very next day, March 8th, is our National League kickoff, and they play a very exciting brand of baseball. And so if you want to see some young kids strive for the very best that they can get, come out and watch them play. And that will be up at on March 8th. It's about 8 o'clock, and we will meet at Sandburg. And so that's that. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Mendel. Shauna.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, as part of my endeavor to learn all the things I can learn about cities and how they run, last week I accepted an invitation from our friends at Athens Services to tour a couple of their facilities out in Sun Valley. And it was so interesting. I got an opportunity to visit one of their MRFs, which is a materials recovery facility. So it's basically where all of our recycling goes. And from the entire process, where the trucks come in on the scales, to the tipping floor where they dump the recyclables out, and then this massive conveyor system where they sort through all the recyclables. It was absolutely incredible. And one of the little tidbits that I learned that I thought, oh, look at that. We think that we're doing good, and we're actually making the process harder. I learned that when you recycle and you put your recyclables in a bag and then put them in your bin, that actually makes it more work at the recycling center, because they have to go through and break the bag to get the materials out so that they're separated properly. And when I don't know if anybody else does it, but when I finish a bottle of water, I scrunch it down really small, thinking that I'm making room. that makes it harder to go through their systems too, because it's all electronic and it senses them, and I don't know, it's very technology heavy. Anyway, so don't scrunch your water bottles. But it was really fun, and so thank you to Athens. They're a great partner for the city, and it was really nice of them to do that. One of the other things that I noticed was just the culture within that organization. You can tell a good organization when the employees all seem really happy. And I have to say, they seemed really happy. I mean, from everybody, from the drivers to admin to the people on the lines, like sorting the recyclables, to the people driving backhoes and all the things. Everyone just was very nice. So thanks to Athens for including me in that. And that's it.
Great. Thank you very much. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to attend a conference held by the Independent Cities Association, which is a group, one of the many groups that the city of Glendora participates with. And it's a networking, educational, informational organization that's made up of 40 of the 88 cities in Los Angeles County, in addition to some in neighboring counties. And one of the great features of that event was we were able to enjoy the great presentation by our own Chief of Police, Mr. Randazzo, to participate in one of the key panels during the midday, talking about emergency preparation and major events and what to do when things go wrong, and how to prepare for knowing what to do when things go wrong. And go wrong could be similar to the major events we've seen to our west with the recent fires or mud flood issues or things like that. So, Chief, thank you very much for your great contribution and the share. It was remarkable. Related to the fire cleanup to our west from the Eaton Fire in Altadena, I was advised this weekend through part of that networking group that the Phase 1 hazardous waste sort and compilation being done over at the Lario staging area in Azusa should get the last of the inbound material this week. They'll have about 11 more days of finalizing and sorting, but no more material coming into that site. And then they'll start their remediation and make sure they don't leave anything unpleasant behind, which we're very confident that they are in control of that. The Phase 2 portion of the demolition and the leftover debris things from that fire area are beginning to move, and many of them are being taken to a reclamation landfill that's geared for that type of material and is already in service. And it is also in Azusa, but not near the water sites and not on Foothill Avenue. So that work will continue for, I would guess, many months. But it's working, it's in control, it's in the timetable that we were professed to be told that it was going to do. So we'll keep an eye on that for our residents' best interest indeed. With that, no more comments. I would ask Mr. Raymond if you have anything.
Evening, everyone. At this time, I'd ask Assistant City Manager Moises Lopez to please come up and provide us a brief update. As the City Council may remember, you granted authorization for Councilmember Alawas to move forward with a resolution that helps set policy at Cal Cities, and with an update on that, Mr. Lopez.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. As Mr. Raymond mentioned, Council last summer discussed the submittal of a resolution to the Cal Cities ahead of the General Assembly in the fall. The resolution was ultimately submitted. It was the only resolution that was submitted for the General Assembly's consideration, but it was reviewed by the Cal Cities Governance, Transparency, and Labor Relations Committee, the Cal Cities Resolution Committee, and the General Assembly. Unfortunately, during the General Assembly, they failed to establish a quorum. So pursuant to Cal City bylaws, the measure was pushed to the Board of Directors meeting the following month. I will point out that at the General Assembly, of the members present, the resolution was supported substantially. Subsequently, in December, the Board of Directors asked for some further clarification to the language, so we went back to the GTLA Relations Committee, and I'm pleased to report that last week at its meeting in Rancho Cucamonga, the Board of Directors approved the proposed language and included it within Cal City's policy and guiding principles document, which is an overarching document that outlines Cal City's advocacy policies moving forward. So no questions were asked. It was unanimously approved. Many thanks to all the Cal City staff that was involved. Jennifer Kwan, who is our league rep, Jason Ryan, and then, of course, Johnny Pena, who worked to navigate this legislative process. And, of course, congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Al Wasu, who pushed it all the way through.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Do you have any further comments, Mr. Raymond? No? Okay. Mr. Edelschlander?
Nothing for me. Thanks, Mayor.
All right. Very good. Thank you for that. We now move on to the consent calendar. Items 4 through 6 appear on the consent calendar and are in the agenda and agenda packet. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a council member has requested it be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to pull or comment on any of the consent items?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion by Karen and a second by Mendel. If you would please vote now.
Motion carries 4-0.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much. Very good. This brings us to item 7, a presentation on the Glendora People Movement Project, a recap and approve the amended and restated memorandum of agreement for the Glendora People Movement Project between the City of Glendora and the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. I'd like to invite, and she's right up there ready to go, Interim Assistant Public Works Director Valerie Santoya to report. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, and good evening, Council. Oh, look at me breaking things. There we go. All right, so for this presentation, I'm going to go ahead and provide an overview of the People Movement Project. For those who may have forgotten or unfamiliar with it, we'll go ahead and take a look at the timeline. We'll also take a look at our partnership, including the amended and restated memorandum of agreement with the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. And then we'll take a look at some of the most frequently asked questions, and we'll also go through funding as well. So the Glendora People Movement Project is made up of several smaller projects that together will go ahead and provide more than 10 miles of active transportation improvements that'll provide for safer recreational opportunities as well as safer and more sustainable transportation options, excuse me. So the smaller projects can be categorized into two categories, either urban trails or first and last miles. The urban trails were first initiated in 2011 with the 2011 Parks and Trails Master Plan, where the proposal was to go ahead and take a look at the right-of-ways along the flood channels and go ahead and prepare and develop 3 trails. And then in 2018, when Metro started planning for the station, they went ahead and also started planning for first last mile improvements for the soon-to-open A-Line station in order to improve ways to access or get to the station. And it's also going to help connect the station to other areas of the city, such as the commercial areas in the village, and help support our businesses. So we'll take a look at each of these 2 components in a little more detail as well. So we'll go ahead and start with the urban trails. And as mentioned, oh no, my green didn't come. This didn't look like this on my PowerPoint that I made. You're not able to see the San Dimas Trail, but the San Dimas Trail is the first trail that we went ahead and took a look at. The first segment has already been completed, and altogether this trail will go ahead and run between the Louis Pompey Memorial Sports Park all the way down to Grand Avenue. The first segment was already completed in 2018, and that's just from the Louis Pompey to Sunflower. And then there'll be phase 2 and phase 3, which will run from Sunflower down to Grand. There's also Little Dalton Wash, which you see in the orange, and that runs from Lorraine Avenue at Colby Trail out to Wabash at Finkbeiner Park. And then there's the Big Dalton Wash that will run from Dalton Canyon up at Glendora Mountain Road all the way down to Barranca Avenue. There'll be a small detour that you could see there in the dashed lines that will run along Foothill Boulevard and Lorraine Avenue. And that's because the wash at that point passes through the city's corporate yard that we'll need to go ahead and keep secure and private from public walking through. So the urban trail is going to provide active transportation along the flood channels, as mentioned. And along the trail, there's going to be Class 1 bicycle and pedestrian trail paths, which are completely separated and protected from vehicles. Wherever the path will need to cross through a street, there'll be enhanced street markings for greater visibility and safety. There's going to be native landscaping, and in certain areas, there'll be benches or water fountains, monument signs, and perhaps some fitness equipment as well. So these are just some conceptual renderings of the trail along the San Dimas Trail. This is a conceptual rendering along Sunflower and Gladstone. And then here is another that is where the trail passes through Gladstone Park. And then this is also just a little segment between Grand and Glendora Avenue. So just a little representation of how the trail will look throughout the city. And again, if you haven't walked before, the first segment between Louis Pompey and Sunflower is already completed. So we'll move on to taking a look at what first and last mile improvements are. And for those who don't know, what are first and last mile improvements? What that refers to is the connectivity gaps between your home or wherever you're leaving to go ahead and get to the station. So for instance, when we're leaving our house and we got to get to the station, that's the first mile. And then once you get off the train and you got to get to your destination, that's the last mile. So how do we go ahead and get to the station? And so what they'll go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and improve safety for all road users, increase pedestrian and bike safety, and also, again, we're going to go ahead and connect the area to our commercial areas and to the village as well. And these improvements are going to be along Glendora Avenue and Foothill Boulevard. So here we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the proposed improvements for Glendora Avenue. So the top picture is going to be what we have existing today, and then the bottom picture is what is proposed. And you'll go ahead and see that we are narrowing the street from a 4-lane street to a 2-lane. You'll see the median in the middle, as well as the roundabout that is going to be right at the center there. And again, this is Ada, and so we just have the station that is to the west of this area. And then here we have Glendora Avenue at Carroll. This is facing northbound. And again, you'll see that the street has been narrowed down. We've got some nice improved crosswalks marked. And then we'll move along here, and this is the Foothill intersection, Foothill at Glendora. And here you're going to see that there is a protected intersection. And so if you look closely, I don't know if you can see, but there are some bulb outs there at the intersection. And those provide several benefits, but all are going to provide additional safety for pedestrians and bicyclists. And then before we move on to Foothill, I'll also add that while it's not included in the rendering here, we are looking to retrofit the antique street lights and go ahead and install those along Glendora Avenue as well as part of the People Movement project. So here we have a rendering of Foothill Boulevard at Grand. Again, we know that the bridge and the hardscaping has already been completed. So as part of the People Movement project, this is really just going to include the bike stripings in this proposed picture here. And then here we just kind of have a representation of what the improvements will look look like along Foothill. And really, you're going to see again, we've got the narrowing of the street with the striped median and then some bike lanes as well. So we'll take a look at the timeline. And again, as mentioned, the trails first started in 2011. And so from 2011 through 2017, there was a lot of work that needed to be done. We needed to find funding, needed to get outreach, needed to go ahead and get all the permits and a use agreement together with the county. And so that took several years. And then in 2018, we were able to go ahead and complete phase 1 of the San Dimas Trail. And at that same year, the first and last mile improvements were introduced. Then between 2018 and 2024, additional outreach has been completed, as well as work on the design, getting permits, use agreements, and funding as well. And so now we come to our present time in 2025, and we're looking to go ahead and move forward with construction of the remaining segments for the San Dimas Trail. So the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments is looking to go ahead and release the notice inviting bids sometime soon, and we'll move towards constructing that. And at the same time, we're working on completing the design and going through the permitting process for the first and last mile improvements. Then, as we look forward to later this year into 2027, we'll work towards getting those first and last mile improvements constructed, and also working on the design and permitting for the Little Dalton and Big Dalton as well. So still lots of work to do with that. We don't know exactly when we'll start on the construction of the Little and Big Dalton trails, but I assume it's going to be post-2027. And again, we'll continue to do outreach as well. So we'll move on to partnerships and funding. And we've got a great partnership with the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. In 2022, they applied for a transportation grant with Metro, and they were awarded nearly $15 million for projects throughout 7 different cities. The city of Glendora was allocated, or they went ahead and allocated $6.6 million of that 15 specifically towards the Glendora People Movement Project. And so with that, in October of 2023, we entered into a memorandum of agreement that went ahead and outlined the responsibilities, the funding, and the scope of the project. And tonight we're here asking for the council to approve the amended and restated MOA, because we've added some additional items to the scope, included Foothill Boulevard, as well as the Big Dalton, which were not included in the original MOA. And then we are going to have to update some funding, which is all outlined in the report, as well as the MOA that's in your packets tonight. So the responsibilities between the COG and the City of Glendora. For the COG, they're going to go ahead and lead getting the plans together, the specs and the estimates. They're going to lead public outreach for us, as well as oversee the environmental compliance, help us secure government approvals through outside agencies, acquire any right-of-way if needed, manage the construction process, and also administer funding and assist with any additional funds if the need arises. As for our responsibilities for the city, we need to maintain our membership with the COG. If there's any additional items we want to go ahead and better the project, we'll be responsible for those as well. We'll need to provide them with any existing city plans and relevant data, make sure that we review the project plans and get that back to them, and issue no-cost encroachment permits, pay local match requirements, and cooperate with the COG in efforts to find additional funds if necessary. And then when it's all completed, we assume ownership and maintenance responsibilities. Moving on to the funding. So with the funding, the project we estimate will be about a $21 million total investment. Both the city and the COG have secured sources of funds for this. With the city, we have secured approximately $9.9 million in funding from various sources, including federal and state earmarks, grants, local return funds that are specific to transportation, and a little over $1 million for from our capital improvement fund. And then, as mentioned, the COG has secured $6.6 million from Metro through their Measure M multi-year subregional program and are currently awaiting final approval on additional $4.96 million for a total of $11,560,000. So as of right now, it does appear that we have a fully funded project for the People Movement Project. So I also just wanted to include some of the frequently asked questions that we get from outreach events. And one of the most asked questions is people that live along the wash around about the safety concerns. And so what we have found is that we do go ahead and lock the path every night. So it's open from dusk to dawn. So every evening before it closes, we have a car go through. They'll go ahead and drive through the path and make sure nobody's on it and secure it on both sides. So we know that there's nobody on the path overnight. And we also have higher gates than the county does right now. So we do feel that with the trail and the efforts we make to make it patrolled, it is safer. We've also checked with PD and got some stats, and we don't find that there has been any significant increase on calls or reports along the trail. Homelessness is often a concern as well, and we find that with our city's comprehensive approach to homeless outreach through both PD and Recreation and Human Services, they're addressing it with services and outreach. And again, with the sweeps that we do every evening, we're able to make sure that we don't have anybody encamping along the trail as well. So with maintenance, the city is going to be responsible for maintenance. We go ahead and maintain the path, make sure that it's free of trash and graffiti, maintain the landscape and irrigation, keeping the path surface clear and making any repairs as necessary. Property values people ask about based on research. With similar projects, there has been research to support that there's an increase in property values along the path, as well as they provide a recreational amenities and safer active transportation alternatives. And then with regard to privacy, along the San Dimas path that has already been completed, the city has allowed for some of those residents to go ahead and exceed the height requirement for walls, just to go ahead and allow for additional privacy. And in certain cases, there can be slats put into any chain link fences to allow for additional privacy as well. And again, it is locked throughout the night as well. So that concludes my report and presentation, and I'll return it to the council for any questions. But the recommendation tonight is that the City Council authorize the city manager or his designee to execute the amended and restated MOA for the Glendora People Movement Project with the City of Glendora and the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. And we do have a representative, Roy Choice, here tonight from the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. And I believe we also have a representative from Alta, who I apologize to Alta for not mentioning them, but they have done great work with the design for us as well. So we have Vincent also, yes? Vincent with Alta, if there's any questions.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie, and thank you, Roy and Vincent, for joining us. Do you have any share or anything you wish to?
I couldn't really add anything to Valerie's great presentation, but if you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay. Vincent, any comments or additions?
No additions from me. I think Valerie said it all. Just excited for the active transportation improvements coming to the city of Glendora.
Great. Well, thank you. And certainly, I know that your presence of both agencies during our community communications of these projects has been very positive. So I appreciate your participation. All right. With that, I'll bring it back for staff questions or comments. Shauna?
Thank you. I just had a couple questions. On the map that you showed, the map, I don't know if you can go back. The lines are dashed. Is that just a dashed line, or are there intermittent spots?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, no, those are just dashes. They're not specific to the intersections or anything, but are streetway. It's a solid path, but of course, wherever we come to the street, you'll have crosswalks. But those dashes aren't specific
So there's
to
just
that.
a dash line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I know you commented about the safety at night. I wonder if you could comment, are there any safety precautions that we might be taking during the day? The way, especially like Little Dalton, it seems like that might be a good path for students to be taking to and from school. So, and one of the big comments that I hear in the community is a concern, there's going to be homeless people on the paths. And can you just maybe speak a little bit to that and reassure the community of the safety for maybe students, people who are younger, to be on those paths?
Yeah.
How about this, Valerie? I'll
Yeah,
take a
I'm
shot
like,
at it.
sorry.
So I think one of the things that people forget is there's already a segment of the trail built. And so we don't have those issues on the segment of the trail. And in fact, that one segment is more associated with some of our homelessness issues that we've had previously or areas. So I think it's important to remind people that the more people that are on the trail and using it, the less likely that people are on the trail doing things that are not supposed to happen on the trail. So we too envision, especially when the trails are fully built out, that they'll make great alternative pathways to the street for kids moving to school and other individuals looking to avoid some of those major intersections. So as Valerie mentioned, the police department has shown there's no additional issues on the one segment that is complete than other areas. So it is our belief that based on our actual experience the last several years that we won't have any of those issues.
Perfect. And I figured that's what you were going to say, and I appreciate that. And, I just want the community to know that that's something that we're taking into consideration, and it's on the top of our minds. So
I would just add, just like anything else in life, if there's an issue, call the police department, call the city, and we'll make sure to address it no matter where it is. So always a good reminder.
thank you. And thank you, Valerie, for your presentation. I think it's great, and I'm personally really excited about this. I think it's going to be fantastic for the city.
Great. Thank you. Mandel?
Thank you. This is great, and I support it, and especially support what you've shown tonight as it's been tweaked. Thank you to everybody that's trying to help us. The only question that I have is on the grants. Is that in or pending the money that is, because we all know that there's a lot of uncertainty,
Right.
both from a federal and a state standpoint, and there's about $7 million of grants, and I didn't know if those were in or pending.
Yeah, we have some of the funds in, and others we don't. So there are different sources of funding. So right now we're moving forward. I mean, assuming that we are going to get those in. They're from past years that they were appropriated. However, if they're not, I mean, just to be fully transparent, if they're not, again, the COG has said they'll help us look for additional sources of funding. But if we are not successful, then we may need to tweak certain future phases of the project. You know, Big Dalton and Little Dalton are later on, so we may need to look at reducing a certain scope, part of the scope.
Sure, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Councilman, the
Here,
funding-
can you move?
Yes, the
mic?
pending MSP funding in the amount just shy of $5 million. The COGS governing board has approved that money to be allocated to the city of Glendora's project. The only thing that we're awaiting for that final action that we're pending and that we're waiting for is the Metro board to approve that recommendation from our governing board. And my understanding is that that item might come in April or May at the latest, is my understanding. So that is a pending item that will be need to be approved by ultimately approved by the Metro board, but we don't anticipate any issues with that funding. And the one other thing that I don't see on here, and it's great news, and sorry, Valerie, I should have brought it up earlier, is there's an additional $1.525 million that's not identified in there. So if we think that we're fully funded now, we definitely have that as an additional buffer. So we have an additional $1.5 million that's not shown in the table that the COG is providing through Active Transportation Program, or ATP Cycle 6. So So we were just able to work with Metro and scrap up some additional funding that was unallocated at the end of the round for the previous cycle in cycle 6. And so we were able to obtain those additional funds and allocate it to the City of Glendora's projects. So you guys have close to $13 million that is being provided by the COG.
Keep him around.
I think Roy and the team have done a great job. I think it highlights the really importance, if I just might add really quickly, when the COG decided they're going to help out cities with projects and funding in these types of endeavors, the COG truly has been remarkable, and I'm sure Valerie's enjoyed working with them. But Roy, you and your team have done a great job, and we're really looking forward to moving on the project.
Well, thank you to your city manager, Adam. I appreciate you, and I just want to extend open gratitude to Valerie because she's taken on a role that I'm sure she wasn't expecting upon the previous project manager's sudden departure to our partner MPO at SCAG. So it's been a pleasure working with both Valerie and your city manager. And lastly, if it wasn't for the support of your resident and the mayor and the city council before me, this project would not be existing. So we're happy to and excited to provide these benefits and enhancements to your residents and pedestrians and cyclists. So yeah, I'm very excited to work and continue working on the progress of this project. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your help and assistance there, and best of luck, and let's just get it done. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mendel. Karen?
Yes, thank you, Valerie, and thank you for picking up this project and moving with it, pun intended. That this is great, all of these improvements that will be happening. I have availed myself of the trail over by Louis Pompey Park. In fact, had a 5K planned using that as a loop prior to COVID, and then COVID shut it down and it didn't reappear, but never faced any safety issues there. And I think that all of these trails and additions will help move people through our community quickly and easily, and especially for cyclists, having a little bit more protection from vehicles will be tremendous. And I love the picture every time you show it of the roundabout by the post office. I know that it makes some people a little uneasy, but I think that is a great traffic calming device. The only thing I noticed that in the next photo after that, I think, that you didn't show the new ice cream shop that was along the street there. So I was a little disappointed there. But no, all of the other things, fabulous. And I think even though folks will have to get used to a different traffic flow, I think once that they become accustomed to it, they'll appreciate that actually they can drive a little bit calmer on our streets and appreciate all that there is to see and do on Glendora Avenue and Foothill. So thank you, and look forward to moving to the next phases.
Great. Thank you, Karen. And I too appreciate this. It looks really exciting. Can't wait to drive a truck and trailer through that traffic circle. It'll be interesting. My only thoughts are as we look at plans, that the planner does remember that oversized vehicles, service vehicles, comes visit the village, buses travel through there, right turns without clanging the car in the oncoming traffic is important, and we just need to not forget that. With that, I have no other comments.
And Mr. Mayor, I just thought of one other frame of reference for our citizens, that the city of Laverne has some trails along their washes that they have had for years, and I've used those frequently. So that is in a neighborhood that is maybe similar to some of the homes in Glendora, so that if folks have any concern, they may go and avail themselves of that and see how that works and see the privacy, the safety, and know that that has worked. That's near the country club over there. And in a neighborhood leading up to that, they have two sections where there are the trails along the wash. So I think if they want a frame of reference of where it's been established and worked for a while, that our neighbors to the east provide that example. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Great, thank you. Well, Vincent, Roy, and Valerie, thank you so much. And with that, I would entertain a motion and a second to maybe move forward.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve this as shown.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mendel, a second by Karen. If you would please vote.
Oh,
There you go. We're navigating a
I
new
had to
visual toy
push the right
here,
button
so
to
it's-
get back.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next item, to conduct a mid-year budget review and adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 2024-25 budget. And to bring all this fun and news to us, we have our Finance Director, City Treasurer, Mr. Kyle Johnson. Kyle, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. We got through lots of nice pictures, so I thought I'd follow that up by lots of nice numbers. So,
As
tonight
our
we will be
stand-up
discussing
comedian, Kyle.
the mid-year review of the fiscal year 24-25 budget. All departments have reviewed their budgets, making adjustments to match revenue or expenditure trends, match grant funding, and/or for capital items like new street signs and vehicle replacements. The general fund is balanced and meets the reserve requirements with the contributions from measures E and Z. Sales taxes and measures E and Z see a combined reduction of $1.35 million with this mid-year budget, primarily related to third quarter sales being down 8.2% compared with 2023, same quarter last 2023, and then consumers have become more cautious about non-essential spending, primarily impacting sectors of auto sales, fuel service stations, and building and construction. Measure Z is anticipated to bring in $700,000 in the first quarter of operation. Previously, we were anticipating $750,000, so all the sales tax items and sales tax adjacent revenues are down, with consumer spending being down. So as we move forward into the multi-year financial forecast, there are many opportunities and challenges that staff considered preparing the multi-year forecast, primarily the impacts of severe weather events and the insurance environment, the unknown of shifting federal policies, community support of city facility improvements, opportunities to further address homelessness, continuation of the aggressive capital improvement plan, private investment in the community, and city employee negotiations. While many of these represent significant challenges, the city is well-positioned to provide services at current levels. The City Council has overseen a fiscal transformation of the city over the past 5 to 7 years that has seen the city move forward with generational infrastructure improvements, make key investments in the city's workforce, and transform the city fiscal position. This hard work will allow the city time to assess the changing landscape and make critical decisions about its future, deciding which key policy initiatives need to be funded. The general fund and measures E and Z multi-year financial forecasts show the ability to continue to meet reserve policy requirements, and item of notes in the forecast include increasing property tax revenues, a minimal uptick in sales tax levels after the fiscal year 25 reduction, a 15% increase in planning, building, and engineering user fees related to the upcoming citywide fee study in fiscal year 25-26. We've looked at our market basket of surrounding cities and determined that we are about that far behind in our user fees. So that's what we'll be working with consultants in the near future to evaluate the rest of the user fees in the city as well. Measure E and Z are subsidizing the general fund on average about $5 million from fiscal year 26 to 29, and this is based on budgeted expenditures. So if there are savings, then the actual transfer from measures E and Z will be less than what is budgeted and shown here. The salaries, retirement, and other benefits lines also include assumptions for upcoming negotiations. Measures E and Z forecasts show net positive income and ending balances starting with fiscal year 26. This is to represent the investments the residents made in the city when approving Measure Z. While Measure Z is a discretionary revenue, City Council will have the opportunity to identify funding goals such as street improvements and funding services the County of Los Angeles has failed to support, like homelessness and street funding. The remaining slides in the presentation discuss the other fund types in the city. The other funds show a net positive ending balance for fiscal year 25. The majority of these funds also include one-time costs for capital projects and capital purchases. So, special revenue funds were primarily adjusted to meet grant awards in the areas of police. So that's the Office of Traffic and Safety STEP program, CDBG, so that's our street improvement programs, and Friends Foundation. And then capital projects funds includes an increase for a citywide traffic study and new signs, street signs, wayfinding signs throughout the city. The water fund is adding one full-time water conservation officer to address compliance with making conservation a California way of life regulations. And the internal service funds are increasing expenditures for capital purchases of backup IT systems and vehicle replacements. And more numbers. The water fund multi-year forecast breaks out the new rate components and reflects an assumed 3% increase for CPI consistent with the rate study approved by City Council in compliance with Prop 218 requirements on November 28, 2023. The operations present the ability to fund capital projects in line with the approved rate study over the next 5 years. Staff is continuing to evaluate the bond market for issuance of the bonds approved with the rate study. The impacts of the shifting federal policies and renewed scrutiny from bond rating agencies on the ability of water systems to meet demand during severe weather events creates a very difficult issuance environment for local agencies. However, overall, the city is positioned well to complete existing capital projects and meet ongoing operational needs. And this is our personnel staffing reconciliation showing the request of the one full-time water conservation officer, which is partially offset by the removal of an existing part-time water conservation officer. And again, this is to meet the Making Conservation a California Way of Life regulations. So in conclusion, the mid-year budget review process is part of managing a dynamic city. It is a collaborative process requiring the efforts of all city departments, and I want to thank them all for actively managing their budgets, ensuring their departments and in turn the city continue to be fiscally sound. Financial planning is done with the best available information at the time it is prepared. However, the economy, elections, shopping trends, and legislations, all covered in previous slides, actually, can change our planning assumptions very quickly. Staff recommends the City Council adopt the resolution amending the fiscal year 24-25 budget. And this concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Kyle. So the moral of the story is community, please go shop.
Yes, yeah, Shop Glendora.
Shop local, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, great. Open up for comments and certainly invite Mr. Moneyman. You want to start?
Mayor, thank you. And Kyle, really, really good job. Thank you. I thought I'd get a better joke than what you gave, but I know you've been buried with this, and your boss is tough, and she works you hard. So, there's just no time for jokes. So, let me just talk about the elephant that's in the room, and that's DOGE. And I want everybody to know that I've been up here for a decade now. And Karen has been here for twice that long, and I like to go line by line. I know that's really weird, and everybody's going, that explains a lot about you. But I have looked at these things year after year, line by line, and I want you to know, and I want everybody to know that there has been DOGE here for a long, long time, and the money that we take in from everybody that lives here and shops here and travels here is spent to make sure that the city is strong and is a great place to live, work, and play. And DOGE, it has never been a thought that we didn't have. And I credit you and your team for making sure that that's the case, and Adam and his team to do that. So I just want to say thank you for making sure that the dollars that are entrusted to us are being spent like everybody wants them to. Now, we can argue, well, I want this street done or that street done, but if that's all that we can argue about, then I think we're doing pretty, just really good. A reserve, you talk about that, and I know what you're going to say, but for those that maybe don't know, what is our target, and are we on point there?
We are on target. We are on the high end. So our reserve policy for the general fund is to maintain a operational reserve of 30 to 45% of general fund, prior year general fund operating expenditures. So another way to look at that is if we're at the top end at 45%, that puts us at just under 6 months of operating if no other revenue comes in. So a third puts us at 3 months of operating if no other revenues come in. So that's kind of how we look at the reserve policy for the general fund.
And I just want everybody to know that that's an absolute, and we've been blessed to be able to do that. And so I'm thankful that you were able to just say that. I also want to thank each and every one that supported E and then Z. I think it's very clear that without those two, but especially E now, that we wouldn't be in the kind of shape that we're in. And so, yes, everybody needs to shop here and invest here. And I believe that we have shown that we are very good stewards of what your sales tax goes for. Two additional things. I saw that there's not any sort of a deficit being looked at, and I want for people that are hearing this or will hear it to know that that's not always the case with cities. I don't want to name those, but some of our friends are looking at that, and I want to say thank you to citizens and to our management team, the council, that we were not looking at going there, and we're not looking at dipping into our savings account, our reserves, as you just talked about. And I think that's a really important thing for citizens to know about, for our staff to know about, and so thank you for making sure that works. Lastly, could you give us just a summary of our financial support that we extend to schools? I am so proud of what we're able to help with our students with and schools, but could you just kind of amplify that again as to what we invest in terms of crossing guards and various things?
Yeah, so we invest, we provide for crossing guards, school resource officers. Those are part of the joint use agreement we have with the school district, where they provide some funding, but it's not 100% funding of those. So we provide some of the costs of those as well. Most recently, we did a one-time investment in the new aquatics pool of $600,000. That's sitting with the school right now as they prepare that project. I think we've do maintenance projects on their spot. We paved the Goddard school parking lot because we use that facility as well. So that's seen an improvement there. And those are some of the areas that we provide support to the school district.
Yeah, and I just think that people need to hear that, to know that the schools are really critical for us, and it's important that we support them, and we actually do. So that's all that I have. I support this, and excellent job. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you, Mendel. Karen?
Thank you, Kyle, for the pretty numbers. And I know that Mr. Thompson is going to try to help out by taking the Thompson family shopping and out to dine in the week ahead. And so, no, thank you, and to everyone else that helped put this together, and all the staff that tries to keep spending down to reflect the current trends. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Shauna?
Thank you. I don't have any questions, but thank you for the report. It was exciting.
All right.
And I'm glad to know we have the OG Doge right here. Don't be letting Elon Musk take you away from us.
I felt like I was in some drinking or eating game. Every time he was going to say that word, I didn't know if I should take a sip or what.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Kyle, and for the entire staff for the great management that we continue to benefit from. And a key to me is, folks, the budget is balanced and we're not reducing services. That's important to recognize that Glendora is enjoying business as usual or better. So thank you for that. With that,
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, please, Mendel.
Just one last thing, and I think you talked about it, but we need to amplify it. All right. We have talked about the fact that there are places here in town that are city-owned, that need some structural help. We're sitting on one.
Yes. So,
this place needs some help. The police department needs it's old, and the place that Janet Stone calls home needs help. And I don't think that we can just sit up here and talk about the platitudes, which I've done and we've all done, without acknowledging the fact that at some point in time, the citizens are going to have to recognize that we all need to lean in some way, shape, or form, and raise the funds to better facilitate the structures which we are using now. And that's not an easy thing to say. No one wants a higher tax bill when insurance is going up and, inflation, eggs are going up and everything. But I do believe that we need to be bold about saying that. And I know that you addressed it like in your first slide, but I think we just need to call it out and indicate that at some point in time, council and staff are going to want to have a more deeper, thoughtful talk about this. And we have talked about it some, and Adam can add to this train of thought however he wants to when I'm done. But I just think that we need to be aware as a city that there's places here that we all own, that we all use, that we all lean on 24/7, and they're going to need help. A new roof, a new this, a new that. And unfortunately, the sales tax can never achieve quick enough the amount of money that a new roof is going to cost us or whatever it's going to cost us. So I applaud you for tacitly talking about it, but I guess I just want to be bold and just say, folks, there's going to come a day where we're going to need to really talk about this. So, Adam, you can correct me in any way, shape, or form that you want to. But
I think it's in my best interest not to do that. But no, I think it's actually a really salient point. And in either we're going to try to be before the city council, the first meeting in March, and maybe the second meeting in March, time pending. But like capital needs of facilities. I mean, the city has a water assessment, that articulates more than $300 million needed over the next 30 years, and just the maintenance on the existing city facilities on things that need to be done right now in today's dollars is 50+ million. When you start talking about new facilities or significantly structurally altered facilities, you're talking $250+ million that's required. So really big, important decisions that will be made. The city council previously heard updates on what the public thinks and how they would fund some of those types of things. So as Kyle begins the journey in our next 2-year budget, we'll talk about finalizing our 2-year strategic plan that accompanies it under the what gets funded gets done methodology. And we will be having that conversation as a council about options moving forward in March. So appreciate you leaning into that theme a little bit. And it is something that has been with this jurisdiction, this agency for a long time. And really, post Prop 13, cities and counties have not had the same ability to raise funding through property tax to build city facilities. In fact, we don't have really any facility of note outside of the teen center, which we could not build today with the cost of construction. So we'll be having a lot of those conversations. Previous Glendorans made sacrifices to ensure that those that came after them had wonderful facilities and a quality of life. And that will be a discussion we'll be having with this council and our community in the next, 1 to 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Mr. Mayor, if I can
Yes, please.
Add to what Adam's saying and even what Mendel was saying about people like using the facilities. It's not only people who use the facilities, it's the entire community. When the facilities degrade to such a degree, it starts impacting people's property values, and that's when it's going to start hitting people at home. So I think it's an important discussion to have.
Yep, very much. Okay, with that, our recommendation is to adopt a joint city council resolution CC 2025-04 and HA 2025-01, a resolution of the City Council Successor Agency and Housing Authority amending the fiscal year 2024-25 fiscal budget per the mid-year review recommendations. With that, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Karen, second by Mendel. If you would please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Very nice, thank you. All right, with that, we move on to what appears to be our final item of business, to approve a contract with Complete Paperless Solutions LLC, hence known as CPS, to provide citywide scanning services in the amount of $500,000. And reporting out will be City Clerk Communications Director Kathleen Sussman. Kathleen.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight I'm here to present a proposal for a citywide scanning initiative and to request that the City Council consider and approve a contract for citywide scanning services. This initiative aims to modernize the city's records management system, enhance our efficiency, and ensure compliance with regulatory requirements. To provide you with a little bit of background, currently the City of Glendora maintains a significant volume of physical records. These include reports, plans, permits, agreements, other historical documents, and essential records that have to be maintained. These documents are spread across multiple locations, including City Hall, the police department, and off-site storage facilities. In addition, in the current economy, there is a growing demand for space throughout city facilities, making it clear that maintaining physical records is not sustainable. The city's current physical storage of records leads to inefficiencies in retrieval and possesses certain security risks across the organization. This proposal is aimed to transition the city to a digital records and a modern records management system that will support operational efficiencies and ensure long-term sustainability. To address this challenge, the city issued a request for proposal on December 14th, 2023. At that time, 3 proposals were received, but unfortunately, none of the 3 proposals met the city's requirements. 2 proposals didn't meet the minimum criteria, and the 3rd vendor filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy before the contract was awarded. Staff revisited the RFP, and due to the specialized nature of this project, particularly the records requiring the Criminal Justice Information Services compliance, also known as CJIS compliance, the city opted for an informal and negotiated procurement process. After a thorough evaluation, staff is recommending that the city enter a contract with Complete Paperless Solutions, also known as CPS, as they have extensive experience, they have CJIS compliance, and the ability to handle large-scale digitization projects. The scope of this project has been aligned to address some of the City Council strategic plan objectives, as well as ensure compliance with the Department of Justice regulations, with the goal of creating standardized and digital records that can be accessed across departments. The project includes scanning and digitizing records across multiple departments, including the police department's crime reports, which of course would only be available to the police department staff that is supposed to have access to those documents, building and safety plans and property files, as well as planning and engineer project files, which would also include water files. The scope was designed to standardize scanning and indexing to improve document security, ensure our compliance with record-keeping laws, and enhance cross-department access. The conversion process that is being proposed to use through this contract will follow strict security protocols and quality assurance measures, which will ensure that the documents, once scanned and put into the system, are easily retrievable and available when appropriate to whoever is given the security means in which to access. Some of the things that were taken into consideration was secure document transfer, standardized document preparation and indexing, quality control, both internal and external, secure return and delivery, as well as auditing, tracking, and compliance. Some of the basic details of the contract before you is staff is recommending the contract be awarded to Complete Paperless Solutions and has been structured to meet the city's digital needs efficiently and securely. The initial term of the contract is set to begin upon approval of the agreement and shall continue until June 30th, 2026, with the option for 3 additional 1-year renewals. These renewals are at the city manager's discretion and are contingent upon budget availability and the city's needs. The total project amount is not to exceed $500,000, which covers secure records management, scanning, indexing, and quality control services. The expected outcomes we're hoping to get from this project should improve our efficiency. We should be able to retrieve documents faster and more reliability, which will help departments as they deal with the increase to public records requests that cities across the state are seeing. It should reduce staff time for searching for documents. It'll optimize space usage. It'll ensure compliance and security with the regulatory requirements. There will be a cost saving as we will reduce the physical storage, printing, and document retrieval that we currently utilize. It will increase transparency and accessibility, not only to the public, but also to departments throughout the city, as well as other organizations that we partner with. It will be more sustainable, and it will also offer the city a more the operation more flexibility. So tonight, I'm requesting that the City Council support the proposed citywide scanning initiative and award a contract to Complete Paperless Solutions. If approved, the next steps for this initiative will be to finalize the contract's execution and then move forward with phasing implementation. Phased implementation will be based on the priority records like police reports, planning permits, and engineering documents. The first set of documents set to be scanned and imaged are the police reports and building and safety plans. There will be a project kickoff scheduled that will also include department coordination with special attention given to data security and compliance with quality control. Regular evaluations will be conducted and adjusted so that we optimize our efficiency and address any emerging needs or change that happen throughout this project. If there aren't any questions at this point, I request that the City Council approve recommendations 1 through 3, approving a contract with Complete Paper Solutions for citywide scanning services for initial term expiring June 2026, and approving 3 optional 1-year extensions in an amount not to exceed $500,000. Authorize 10% contingency in the amount of $50,000, and authorize the city manager or designee to execute agreements including minimal and or non-substantial changes. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Kathleen. And for the body, it's just an optical illusion that the records are holding the ceiling up. Okay, with that, I'll entertain any questions or comments. Karen?
Yeah, Kathleen, could you just explain, so after the documents are scanned, is there any brief retention of those, or are they shredded immediately, or what's that timeline that way?
So this is the first phase. So the documents we're currently looking at scanning right now are permanent. So those are getting permanently scanned in. Once we have the appropriate emergency backup set up, and IT will be working with that as phase 2, then the paper can be destroyed. We'll be doing all the steps needed up until that emergency backup to have those documents ready to be destroyed once that backup is established.
'Cause just from the photos, it looks like we could gain at least 3 more, if not more, offices just by the destruction of those
actually,
documents.
significantly.
Yeah. No, thank you very much.
Randall?
No, I'm good and support this.
Shauna?
Thank you, Kathleen. A couple questions for you. So we're going to be saving a lot of like physical space. Do we currently have the capacity in our IT systems for all this digital storage, or is that going to require some sort of an upgrade in storage capacity?
So when we worked with IT on developing the project, we didn't think there'd be a need for any additional space for what is being looked at, scanned right now for the backlog. As we move forward with the new the new land management system, they're getting other servers and such, and a lot is being placed on the cloud. So my understanding is that there was no additional, we didn't need to budget for any additional space for that.
Okay. And then any idea how long the project is for everything? Like in a wonderful world, everything is scanned and we can look back and say, we're done. Like what is that?
So the police department records are ready to go. They're boxed, they're indexed. We actually have everything ready to go. So I think as soon as this contract gets awarded, if I could have those out of that room by Friday, the chief would be very, very happy. I would say more, maybe in a month, we'll get that done. Plans for building and safety are also just need to be boxed up. They're already ready to go. The documents in engineering and public work need some cleanup. So that will depend on staff time to do those records and clean those files before we ship them off-site.
Oh, I'm talking about like completion of it.
Well,
my understanding it's like a years long process, is it not?
I think we'll have a really quick turnaround for the PD records and the building plans. The rest of it will depend on how quickly internal staff can get through their files and get them ready to be shipped out.
And I would just add, it's already been a years-long process trying to
It's
get to
been-
this point. So,
yeah.
yes, you are absolutely correct. It's been several years.
It
of-
is a process.
Yeah, we're not going to snap our fingers and have this all
No.
be done. It'll.
You won't have it
yeah.
by Friday.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, thank you.
Great. And as I understand it, ongoing business now, for example, in building and planning is already digitized and electronic, so we're not adding to the pile.
Correct.
Small amount probably, but not a massive amount. Would there be some ongoing future needs? Must be some, I think.
There
going
would be
forward.
from probably more of the city clerk standpoint. Once we start getting our contracts in a workflow and everything's completely electronic, maybe we wouldn't need that anymore. But part of the problem is especially with the county, state, and federal agencies, a lot of them still require a wet signature. So there are situations where we can't use like anything digital. So those would still have to be scanned in by hand. But it would be really minimal because finance is, all their stuff is pretty much being handled and managed through an electronic workflow. The new land management system will do the same thing for planning and public works. So it's just a matter of getting the plans and the property files that we currently have in paper form.
Great. I have no other questions. Thank you very much. And with that, I would entertain a motion for the recommendation.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve items 1, 2, and 3 as recommended by staff.
A motion by Mendel. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Karen. With that, I will ask us to play the video game vote, and second has
Motion
passed
carries.
unanimously. Great, thank you, ma'am.
Motion carries 4-0.
Great. With that, happy to say that concludes our agendized business for the evening, and bring it back for any staff comments or otherwise. Anybody?
And just again, adjourn in,
Yeah.
Mr. Norman.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn at 8:45 PM in honor of Mr. Gordon Norman. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.